I'm joined by Lori Williams. She's a political scientist with Mount Royal University in Calgary. Lori, let's start with Mark Carney and the Liberals. It's been a whirlwind ride for this party since the polls had them on life support before Trudeau stepped down. But the latest Nanos poll has them just a point behind the Tories. And Angus Reid had them several points ahead. And 338, you heard there from Adam, has them ahead also. How do you expect the party to do in this election?
Well, at this stage, the Liberal Party, Mark Carney in particular, seem to have momentum. We've seen a pretty dramatic shift in the last few weeks, about 30 points ahead of where they were, for ahead of where the Liberals were last or at the beginning of the year. So momentum is on their side. But if the polls can shift 30 points up for the Liberals, they can certainly shift the other direction depending on what happens during this campaign. I think it's also important, at least at this stage, to note, and again, Mark Carney's coming out of a leadership race, has a bit of momentum on that side as well. But some of these polls are showing Mark Carney as the preferred prime minister or as a better prime minister, and he has a 10-point lead on that as compared with Pierre Poilievre. So certainly it's a position that they probably prefer to be as opposed to where they were, but I think they've got to understand it's precarious, and this election campaign is going to make a big difference.
How much do you think that this Liberal surge has to do with fear amongst Canadians about Donald Trump and what he might do next?
Well, I'd say it's fear. It's also unity in response to some of the threats and attacks that are coming from the Trump administration. A sense that we need to look at a different kind of direction going forward. And I think that's the ballot question: is who's got the best plan? I mean, we were looking at polls that were sort of giving a report card on the Trudeau Liberal legacy. That's shifted. The attention now is on the future, on who's got the best plan and the most credibility for achieving that plan to deal with the many challenges that Canada is facing. How can they deal with both internally some of the trade and security issues that we're facing, and how can they work with other international partners to try to achieve that?
You mentioned Carney's preference as prime minister amongst many Canadians. I'm thinking of Pierre Poilievre at one point it was said that this election was his to lose. What can he do to get back some of the momentum he had before Trudeau stepped down, or can he?
Well, I mean, that's the question of the election. Now, he's a seasoned politician. He's got a lot of experience, and he's very good at connecting through a number of different media with Canadians to try to send his message clearly to them. I'm a bit puzzled. I'm not sure if it's a good strategic move or a defensive one, that they're saying that they're not going to have any so-called legacy media traveling with Pierre Poilievre as he campaigns during this election. So again, I don't know if that's the wisest move to make, but that's the decision. And certainly the strategy used by the Conservatives up until this point has been quite effective. At this stage, it's not quite clear if they've got a clear winning message, a sense of what that vision for the future is going to be. But on the other hand, even though Mark Carney has spoken about some of the things he could do, he's highlighted his international networks and connections. But I think Canadians are going to be looking for more information from Mark Carney as well. So it's going to come down to who has the kind of vision that people can sort of be hopeful about, and also whether they've got the credibility to actually achieve what they're saying that they want to do.
That's Lori Williams from Mount Royal University. Lori, thanks so much for being with us tonight.
Thank you, Matt.